Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are around the world. Welcome to today's Postgrad webinar service. Today we're joined by UCL in London, the UK. I'm joined today by Antonio Senis and Jacob Stargard. They are both within the Humanities and Social Sciences department at UCL. They'll be taking you through the next 30 to 40 minutes, followed by a Q&A, which I will be back for answering any questions or asking any questions for them to be answered. Today's date is the 11th of March, so if you are watching on demand later on in the year on postgrad.com or on our social channels, please bear that in mind. Some of the information that you might hear with regards to funding opportunities or scholarships moving forward might not be totally 100% accurate, so bear that in mind, please, students. But for now, I'd like to hand you over to Antonio. He'll be handing over to Jacob after that. I'll be back for the Q&A at the end. Antonio, over to you.
Thank you, Gareth. And hi, everyone, and thank you very much for joining us. My name, as Gareth said, is Antonio Sennis. I'm head of the Department of History here at UCL, and it is a real pleasure to welcome you to this session. Together with my colleague, Professor Jakob Stuger-Nielsen, we are going to explore a question that is actually central to what we do every day at UCL. Why the humanities and social sciences matter today, and why studying these subjects at postgraduate level can open extraordinary intellectual and professional opportunities. So let me begin by saying a word about what we mean by faculty at UCL. To keep things simple, a faculty is essentially a large academic community that brings together departments and disciplines around shared intellectual questions. The Faculty of Social and Historical Sciences, which I represent today, and Jakob will say something about the faculty he represents in a while, is one of the most vibrant and internationally recognized communities of its kind. What unites us in what we call SHS, Social and Historical Sciences, is a simple but powerful ambition to understand how society functions, how they evolve over time, and how we can respond to the challenges that shape the world we and you live in. To do that, we bring together an extraordinary range of perspectives. Within the faculty, you will find scholars working in politics, economics, history, archaeology, anthropology, geography, art history, among others. Together, these disciplines allow us to tackle some of the most important questions of our time. Questions about global inequality, political transformation, migration, environmental change, cultural identity, technological disruption. I want to be clear that these are not narrow academic questions. They are questions that affect societies across the world, and they require historical depth, social analysis, and cultural understanding. One of the reasons students come to study with us from all over the world is that UCL consistently ranks among the very top institutions globally in these fields. For example, SHS at UCL are ranked 14th in the world in the Times Higher Education rankings. And in the UK most recent Research Excellence Framework, we were ranked first for research power in the social sciences. Various of our departments are in the top 5 globally. What that means for you as a student is that you are learning in an environment where the people teaching you are actively shaping international debates in their fields. Next slide, please. Another distinctive feature of the Faculty of Social and Historical Sciences, SHS, is its remarkable intellectual breadth. Across our departments, we explore human societies from many different angles. Some scholars examine political systems and public policy. Others study economic change. Others investigate cultures, beliefs, and social practices. While historians and archaeologists reconstruct the past in order to understand how the present came to be. But what makes postgraduate study here particularly exciting is that these disciplines do not operate in isolation. At UCL, we strongly encourage interdisciplinary thinking. A historian like me might collaborate with archaeologists to reconstruct ancient or medieval, I'm a medievalist, or medieval societies. A political scientist might work with economists to analyze public policy. Anthropologists might engage with filmmakers, journalists, or digital storytellers to explore new ways of communicating knowledge. This ability to move across intellectual boundaries is becoming increasingly important. The most pressing problems facing the world today rarely belong to a single discipline. And this approach, I will say something more about it, but this approach also translates directly into employability. I will say something more later on, but just let me start by saying that our programs equip students with skills that employers consistently value. The ability to analyze complex problems, build persuasive arguments, communicate ideas clearly, collaborate with others, and approach challenges creatively. Graduates from our programs move into a very wide range of careers, and I will say something more about it in a second. So studying the humanities and social sciences at UCL is not only about understanding the world. It is about gaining the intellectual tools to interpret it, challenge it, and ultimately help shape it. And now, Jakob, over to you.
Thank you so much, Antonio. That's really exciting. It's good to be here with you today from UCL's Arts and Humanities faculty. My name is Professor Jakob Stoker Nielsen. I'm professor of Scandinavian and Comparative Literature, but I'm also Vice Dean and Deputy Dean in the Faculty of Arts and Humanities. As you may know, Arts and Humanities have been at the very heart of UCL since its very beginnings. In fact, UCL established the first academic chairs in Britain in subjects such as English, German, Greek, Hebrew and Jewish studies, Italian, Latin, philosophy, and Spanish. An early sign of just how central these disciplines have always been to our mission as we celebrate the 200 years of UCL, as you can see here on our backgrounds. Today, the commitment is recognized globally. UCL is ranked 8th in the world for arts and humanities in the Times Higher Education World University Rankings from 2026. And this is something that we are proud of, not just as a marker of excellence, but because it reflects the depth, the diversity, and impact of the work that our faculty does. And this sits within a much longer tradition as UCL was founded in 1826 on principles that were radical for their time. Inclusive education, openness to new ideas, and the belief that knowledge should be useful, should make a real difference to society. And that ethos continues to shape everything that we do today, also in our faculty. We prioritize diversity, interdisciplinarity, and social impact, creating an environment where staff and students can explore, experiment, and work across boundaries to address some of the world's most complex problems. So when you join Arts and Humanities at UCL, you're not just entering a historic faculty, you're stepping into a forward-looking community committed to innovation, critical thinking, and making a meaningful contribution to the world. Next slide, please. And just as UCL was pioneering 200 years ago, our faculty continues to innovate today. We are finding new ways to explore disciplines that have deep historical roots. Take classics, for example. We also are shaping completely new fields. One of our newest programs in philosophy looks at the relationship between logic and artificial intelligence. And we established pioneering interdisciplinary programs and departments such as the arts and sciences, where at postgraduate level, we offer forward-thinking programs like health humanities and creative health at our new campus at UCL East. I'll say more about the full range of our postgraduate courses a little later, but for now, I want to give you a sense of the breadth of our faculty, something that often surprises people. I also want to show how seriously we take our responsibility as a world-leading center for the humanities. Our work helps us understand what it means to be human in all its complexity, from the languages that shape us and the communities we form, to the histories that help us make sense of the present and the future, from the technologies that influence our knowledge and perceptions to the creative practices that allow us to imagine different ways of living and the stories that shape our identities. And on to the next slide, please. And this is for you, Antonio. Why are the humanities, arts, and social sciences relevant in today's world? What would you say?
Thank you, Jakob. Thank you. What do I say? When we ask why humanities and social sciences matter today, in my mind, the answer becomes clear very quickly if we look at the kinds of challenges societies are currently facing. Let's think about issues such as climate change, democratic governance, global inequality, migration, technological transformation, or cultural conflict. Well, none of these challenges can be understood purely through technology or technical solutions alone. They are fundamentally human problems. They involve political institutions, social behavior, historical experience, economic systems, and cultural values. And understanding those dimensions requires exactly the kind of insights provided by the humanities and the social sciences. These disciplines help us understand how societies function, how institutions develop, how ideas shape behavior, and how communities respond to change. They also help us ask deeper questions. For example, why do some policies succeed while others fail? How do historical experiences shape political identities today? How do new technologies transform social relationships? Something dramatically present to us today. In other words, humanities and social sciences provide the analytical depth and human perspective that are essential if we want to respond intelligently to the challenges of the modern world. And Jakob, perhaps you might like to add your perspective from the arts and humanities side.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. As I mentioned previously, humanities do help us ask, but also answer fundamental questions about what it means to be human by studying cultures, values, ideas, and histories across time. We gain tools to understand both the diversity and the commonality, I guess, of human experience. And whether we analyze ancient texts or social media, visual art, or oral histories, the humanities and the social sciences, they teach us to interpret the world critically and empathetically. That matters more now than ever, as you intimated. We live in a moment shaped by political polarization, global conflicts, and profound questions of identity. Climate emergency, you mentioned, public health crises, rapid technological change, including AI, of course. They demand not only scientific solutions, but really deep cultural and ethical understanding, I believe. And humanities help illuminate hidden assumptions, challenge the prejudices we may have, and help sustain the functioning democracies. They also build the skills of our societies, skills that are urgently needed: critical thinking, argumentation, cultural awareness, and the ability to navigate diverse perspectives. And these skills are difficult to automate, and they are vital for tackling misinformation and strengthening social cohesion. In short, I think the humanities and the social historical sciences, they equip us to make sense of the world and help us shape it for the better. On to the next slide, please. And now back to you, Antonio. Can you tell
Um,
us about the breadth of the courses in social and historical sciences, please?
thank you, Jakob. And just to say that, just to begin by saying that in my mind, one of the most exciting aspects of postgraduate study at UCL is the extraordinary diversity of programs that are available to students. Within SHS, within the Faculty of Social and Historical Sciences, students can really pursue advanced study in established disciplines such as history, politics, anthropology, economics, history of art. But we also offer a growing number of innovative interdisciplinary degrees that connect scholarship with media, creative practice, and public engagement. For example, at UCL East, in our campus at UCL East, within the School of Creative and Cultural Industries, we have programs such as public history, public anthropology, ethnography, and documentary film, and immersive factual storytelling. These programs explore how knowledge about society and culture can be communicated to wider audiences through film, sound, digital media, and immersive technologies. We also offer programs such as audio storytelling for radio and podcast, and designing audio experiences, which combine intellectual inquiry with creative production. And here in Bloomsbury, we have programs such as data science and public policy, which bring together quantitative analysis with political and economic decision making. What makes this environment particularly exciting is that students are able to combine intellectual depth with creative experimentation and practical engagement. And Jakob, perhaps you could highlight some of the programs from the arts and humanities side now.
Thank you, Antonio. Yes, that's an incredibly diverse and exciting range of programs you have. And at UCL, one of the most exciting things about studying in the humanities is also our extraordinary breadth of postgraduate programs that we have made available. Our faculty brings together world-leading departments, as I mentioned, from philosophy to fine art, from Jewish studies to European languages, creating a rich intellectual environment where students can explore ideas across disciplines and engage with some of the most pressing questions of our time. We offer traditional pathways that students will recognize, such as MA in Classics, a wide range of MAs in Language, Culture, and History, and degrees in English Literature, of course, including issues in modern culture and English linguistics. And students can specialize in a wide range of modern languages, from Dutch, Portuguese, Scandinavian languages, German, Italian, French, and Spanish, or pursue much more broader cultural and historical studies, including early modern studies and Jewish studies. At the same time, we're deeply committed to interdisciplinarity, and many of our courses bridge the humanities with STEM and the social sciences, of course, providing students with a competitive edge, I would think, in an evolving job market. And these include, to mention a few, creative health, MSc. In digital humanities, we have knowledge, information, and data sciences MSCs, and the MSc in philosophy, logic, and MI that I mentioned, which is a brand new program for 2026 entry, which explores critical intersections between philosophical reasoning, logic, and artificial intelligence. Our faculty also hosts innovative socially engaged programs. We offer MAs in comparative literature, in gender studies, film studies, and the recently introduced MA in race, ethnicity, and postcolonial studies, taught by leading scholars whose work shapes public debate on racism and racialization. In addition, our Center for Translation Studies delivers world-class MAs and MSCs in translation studies and technology, including pathways in scientific, medical, audiovisual translation, as well as interpreting. We're also very proud of having UCL's School of Slavonic and Eastern European Studies, commonly known as SEAS, which adds more depth to our postgraduate landscape, with degrees focusing on languages, cultures, and histories and politics, even economics of Central Eastern and Southeastern Europe, the Baltics, Russia, the Caucasus, and Central Asia. It also offers a very prestigious IMES double degree program run with a consortium of top European universities. And across all of these programs, our mission is really to bring disciplines into conversation, to train students to think critically and creatively, and to enable them to make meaningful contributions to our interconnected world. Whether students are delving into ancient cultures, analyzing contemporary media, engaging with communities, or working on the frontier of AI ethics, they become part of a vibrant community dedicated to understanding humanity in all its complexity and hopefully improving society in very tangible ways. Over to the next slide, please. So, Antonio, how do our disciplines equip graduates with the skills, experience, and insights needed to enrich lives and build careers after graduation?
Uh, Thank you. I mean, this is a bit of the million-dollar question, which we often hear from prospective students, and it's a million-dollar question, but it's also a very understandable one. What can I do with a degree in the humanities or social sciences? My answer is usually quite a remarkable range of things. The graduate outcome survey shows that around 92% of our master's graduates are either in employment or in further study, and roughly two-thirds of them are working in highly skilled roles. Many of our graduates go into areas one might expect, such as public policy, international organizations, journalism, heritage museums, NGOs, or even, dare I say, academia. But others move into fields that people often do not associate immediately with our disciplines: finance, consulting, technology, creative industries. And our graduates work for organizations such as the UK government, Deloitte, KPMG, PwC, the Bank of England, among many others. What employers consistently tell us is that they value the transferable skills developed through these programs: analytical thinking, persuasive communication, the ability to interpret complex information, and the confidence to engage with different perspectives. And we might add something that is very, very present in our world of developing AI. AI CEOs are now consistently saying that in this age of developing AI, humanities and social sciences will be even more important, not less important, because it will be even more important than ever to remind us what makes us human. And so this is very, very important. And these are the skills that I mentioned are not only professional skills. They're also the kinds of intellectuals, practical skills that help people navigate and contribute to complex societies, or to say things more simply, to live happily and creatively in the world they inhabit. Over to you, Jakob.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's some of the same things I would have said. I mean, when we talk about the arts and humanities, we often focus on, I guess, the richness of the subjects themselves, language, literature, philosophy, culture. But what truly sets these disciplines apart, I think, is the extraordinary range of skills and ways of thinking our students develop, and how powerfully these really translate into life after graduation. Many of the ways that you just mentioned. Our programs also equip students with both specialist expertise and deeply transferable abilities. And some routes lead directly to professional pathways, for example, publishing, translation, and archiving, or the Library and Information Studies MA that we have, which is accredited both the UK and US Library Associations. But our graduates also go far beyond these traditional destinations. I mean, you'll find alumni working in film and podcasting, the finance sector you mentioned, tech industries, and in creative fields where Many have already won awards in film festivals and for radio. And what ties these diverse pathways together are the skills that sit at the heart of arts and humanities training. Students learn to analyze, construct, and deconstruct arguments, to see evidence from multiple perspectives, and to pay close attention to the world and to others. These might sound like sort of timeless academic virtues, and they are, but they're also among the skills least likely to be automated, which you also intimated. So, in a world powered increasingly by AI and rapid digital change, these human-centered capacities gain even greater significance, and I completely agree with that. Our graduates also develop the soft skills that employers consistently tell us they value: confidence, strong written, vocal communication, the ability to build communities and networks. And these are skills that shape not just careers, but also lives. And the outcomes, they speak for themselves, of course. According to recent graduate data, and you mentioned this, three-quarters of our graduates are in highly skilled work or further study across 47 different countries. And many work in places people don't immediately associate with humanities degrees, such as the Bank of England, Deloitte, the NHS, and industries ranging from law and accounting to journalism, marketing, administration, and of course, education. And let me give you a few concrete examples from our alumni community, students that I have been in touch with. We have Tamara Drove, a gender studies graduate. She's now a women, peace, and humanitarian response advisor at UN Women in Chile. We have Rob Wilding, publishing graduate, is now a marketing manager at Duckworth Books. Billy Franklin studied Russian and post-Soviet politics and now works as an analyst in intelligence. Very diverse avenues, I would say, for careers. And these stories, they reflect how flexible, but also how powerful an arts and humanities degree can be. And the reasons go deeper than employment statistics. Of course, we live in a world shaped by cultural conflict, as I mentioned, misinformation, climate crisis, and rapidly shifting technologies. And to navigate all of this, we need people who can think critically and ethically, who can interpret complexity, and who can understand human behavior, their histories, languages, and their identities. Arts and humanities graduates are uniquely equipped, I think, to ask the right questions, to imagine alternatives, and to lead conversations across borders, cultures, and disciplines. And a humanities degree doesn't train you for one career, it prepares you for many. And it prepares you not only to succeed in the workplace, but to contribute meaningfully to the world. And ultimately, that is what studying the arts, humanities, and the social historical sciences at UCL offers: skills, insights, and confidence to make lives richer, more connected, and, dare I say, more livable wherever your path leads. Now, we have a really wonderful question on our next slide, Antonio, for that next slide. Why should students consider studying these disciplines in London? What would you say?
Well, it's what do I say? London offers extraordinary opportunities for students in our disciplines, in humanities and social and historical sciences. Here on campus in Bloomsbury, we already have remarkable resources, including UCL Special Collections, UCL Art Museum, the Petrie Museum of Egyptian Archaeology, and the Grant Museum of Zoology. But just beyond our campus, one can find some of the greatest research and cultural institutions in the world. The British Museum, the British Library, the National Archives, they're all within easy reach. I struggle to think of a city that has a higher concentration of intellectual powerhouses around a single institution like we experience at UCL. London is also an intellectual hub. Across our faculties, we host research centers such as the Stone Center of Wealth and Income Inequality, UCL Policy Lab, the Center for the Study of the Legacies of British Slavery, and institutions that changes the way in which people conceive the British past. And these institutions regularly bring leading thinkers and practitioners to campus. But there is something more. London itself is an extraordinary city. And I must say, I was born in Rome, so I actually understand extraordinary city. But London is a unique place in which to live and study. It has been ranked the world's best city for 11 consecutive years. It offers a unique combination of cultural vibrancy, global connectivity, and remarkable green space. And maybe, Jacob, you will expand on that. But so in essence, for many of our students, studying here means combining academic learning with the experience of living in one of the most dynamic cities in the world. London is a great place, and UCL is the best place to experience it. Jakob.
I'm sitting here looking out my window that almost looks like the background that we have for us here, though that's not a live background. But I'm sitting here looking out to our square, to our park right in front of my window here, and it's teeming with students almost all year round. And I would say London is probably better than its reputation when it comes to weather. It does rain a bit in the winter, but I'm from Denmark myself, so I know what cold winters and lots of rain is like. And London feels to me like a very southern place. There's always lots of students enjoying the sun and the community here in our park. We have lots of festivals. There's food from all over the world. Every Thursday, we have a big farmers market with food from all over the world, and all the students they go out and enjoy the great outdoors and having lunch outside. And I think that's what our students they really appreciate when they come from all over the world. They appreciate that they get a London, a British experience, a European experience, but they're also in the middle of a city that is just the most global city in the world. It has shops, it has food, it has cultural festivals from all over the world almost at any time. At any time, you could go and find a celebration of a particular culture, a particular community, taste new foods, learn new ways of living, and just being together in a very interesting and always renewing city. The parks is something that is often forgotten a little bit. When you think of London, you think about the center of London, but London is probably one of the greenest cities I have lived in, despite its magnitude. It's a massive city, but there's so many green spaces. There are canals to walk about. There's the Thames to walk around. And we have just here at our Bloomsbury campus, we have a couple of very large and beautiful parks just around us. UCL East, of course, our new campus is set in the former Olympic Park, and it is just a wonderful space for all sorts of activities and outdoor activities and green spaces and cultural institutions. I think we are there's nobody rivaling UCL when it comes to our closeness to cultural institutions, both here in Bloomsbury, but also at UCL East. It is a very exciting place. And tomorrow I'm taking my students to the British Museum to see an exhibition about Nordic print works, which is it's a small thing, but it's really incredible that we can just walk down there in 10 minutes and see something from the world that we are studying. So yeah, London is a fantastic place to study, and there's good reason why it's been named the best city to study for many years in a row. I think that takes us to the end of our presentation, Antonio, and I believe we have somebody helping us
Yeah.
take questions. Gareth, am I right?
Yes, Jacob and Antonio, thank you for your time. Now, I think I want to elaborate further on your final points actually about London. I think, we've heard about the programs, we've heard about the different intricacies of each kind of course that there is to offer. Um, how important is London? Because one of the things we never really spoke about in the last 10 minutes was just the career opportunities that arise off the back of living and studying in London. I think it's fair to say that not only is it the education hub of the globe, it's probably one of the major employment hubs of the world as well. And therefore, no matter what you're studying, you're likely to find employment post-graduation, aren't you? Antonio, if I can start with you and then we'll
Yeah.
move on to Jacob.
Yeah, of course, Gareth. Yeah, that is undeniable. If you think about the number of companies and or from governmental NGOs, private companies, there are the concentration in London of employers is absolutely dramatic, and obviously the opportunities for internships, for contacts, for contacts between our department, external speakers, simply formal and informal, is actually increasing the employment opportunities in an absolutely dramatic way. It's not a coincidence that our MA graduates are such a high proportion of them is in employment after their degree, is because they are clever, obviously, but also because there is a proximity with the employers, and there are opportunities, to have contacts, and UCL and our two faculties are incredibly active in facilitating these contacts.
And Jacob, do you want to elaborate further on that?
Yeah, thanks. It's a great question, Gareth, and I think the reason why we maybe not mention this, it seems obvious. I mean, we are in the heart of a global city that has also the center of creative and cultural industries for arts and humanities students, and of course, we engage with those creative cultural industries in our work. But students, they find internships. They are in publishing, for instance. Some will probably not think that a very large number of our students are finding work in the tech industry. Google is building a massive new headquarter here, just a stone's throw away from where we're sitting. Lots of our students get work in tech industries as well. The financial sector is, of course, massive in London, so it's a European center for a lot of the industries that we are training our students for. In maybe an indirect way, somewhat, but that is one of the reasons why students they find good employment is that we are so closely associated with and we are so close to and geographically to the sort of centers of European finance, creative cultural industries, technology, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and I think that it's important to point out for any student watching. Think there's almost 40 level 7 stroke level 8 postgraduate level establishments in London. So not only are students coming to London, the education's following the students to London also, which is great. Keeping on that theme then, international students, there will be a wide variety of different nationalities and cultures. How do you accommodate for those students in terms of it might be religious beliefs, it might be cultural, it might be just, everyone's different. Post-COVID now, especially, everyone has their own kind of quirky ways. How do you accommodate for that different type of student that perhaps might want to do most of their studying at home, different time of day, perhaps get out and about more often during the day? Is that feasible, or is it a very structured package that this comes with? Jacob, start with you to begin with.
Thank you. That is a great question. We have practice in developing very diverse, inclusive, international communities at UCL. Once we called ourselves the global university, and that was for good reason. We have staff and students from all over the world, probably more than any other university. And we have developed ways in which we can support students who comes from very different backgrounds, both in terms of their previous education, their cultural backgrounds. Uh, and we have and I think one of the best things for students at UCL is really our student societies. And we have probably student societies for any needs or any interest or any backgrounds where students can find their communities. I will say UCL is a campus-based university. We really pride ourselves of ensuring that students they come into classes, they engage with their peers, they engage with the teaching and learning that takes place on campus. Some of that will be in classrooms. Most of it will be in classrooms, of course, in lecture theaters, small seminar groups. But there will also be a possibility of engaging with other students in our amazing student center, where there are a lot of different kinds of rooms. We don't want students to only sit at home by themselves. We want students to go out and become socially engaged in the learning experience with other people. But there should be just something for everybody, no matter if you are extrovert or introvert, no matter what your background is. There should be a society, there should be a place for you to find the kind of community that will help you grow as a student.
And there will be something for everything, won't there, Antonio? Because you mentioned earlier you're from Rome and Jacob's from Scandinavia, so two very different people on this webinar alone. Different people have different requirements, won't they?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. As Jakob said, we are an example, two examples of the inclusivity and the kind of cosmopolitanism of UCL. Everyone, no matter where they come from, or no matter what their previous experience is, will find here a home for them. EDI, diversity, inclusion, equality is something that is of fundamental importance to us. Every member of staff takes care of a discrete number of students, that they're personal tutors. And we have a lot of interaction. As Jakob says, we are a campus university. We want to see students. We want to see students seeing each other. We want to engage with them, and we want to, our time is their time, and we're really, really committed to that. We are also a university that, as Jakob says, facilitates, encourages sociability, social life, and our amazing student societies. Yeah, as Jakob says, there is a society for everyone. And if there isn't, you can create one. And so it's really an incredibly welcoming university. One thing that we, just to make it clear, UCL is a university that has a really high staff retention. We are happy here. This is a great point of arrival for many of us, and we want to transmit this enthusiasm to the next generation, to students, to people who come studying with us, and really in a comfortable, flexible, inclusive way. If you come to study with us, you will be safe and happy.
I appreciate this might be more of an admissionsy type question to both of you. There's a student that's asked about, do you offer on-campus accommodation? And if you want to elaborate further, I'm guessing being in the heart and centre of London, a lot of students will perhaps live on the outskirts of London and travel in. Is there an opportunity to have on-campus accommodation? If there's not, what would your recommendations be? Antonio, can I start with you?
Yeah. So two things. First of all, there is accommodation at UCL East in our campus in UCL East. Obviously, we are a campus, but an urban university. So a lot of our halls of residence are actually very close to campus, although they are not in a kind of in a campus sort of within the precinct of UCL. But one thing that I would like to say about living in London from a student point of view, which is what I always say in our open days also to parents, actually the London that our students experience is much smaller than one might think. They all live in the center of London. I mean, if they are, from the outside, and so it's a very safe London. We are pedestrianizing all the area around UCL. So London offers a lot of accommodation opportunities. We don't have halls of residence within the campus as such, but there are also residents that are very close. I mean, we're talking about
Yeah.
5 minutes walk or 3 minutes walk or something like that.
Of course, I think that's the beauty of the campus as well. I mean, I've been to I'm lucky enough to have met a few of your colleagues, and the beauty of the campus is that, it is within the city. You're in the heart of London, and everywhere is within 20-25 minutes on a tube or public transport. So, um, next question would be around the classes. One of the questions that came in, Jacob, if I can come to you, would be around the classroom size. Obviously, you're a global university, many nationalities. Are they intricate classes, large class sizes? What can a student expect?
Oh, that is such a difficult question to answer for both of our faculties. It really depends on what you're studying. If you study a very special program, like let's say you studied language, history, and society with Scandinavian studies, you will have classes with very few students. You will be in constant contact with more than 4 or 5 students on a daily basis, all studying the same. But you could also be in a very large programs where you will have some lectures, where you will have 50, 65, up to 100 students sometimes in a lecture, but there will often be associated seminar groups. So that is one of the things that we are really committed to, is to make sure that students have the experience of being able to have conversations, debates, discussions with each other and with our staff in smaller settings. We often say that we are seminar based, discussion based. And I think that is going to be the most common experience for postgraduate students, that they're going to be in seminars with groups of students from 15 to 20, where they will have the opportunity to discuss the text, the issues, the themes, to learn in their communities and with their teachers. But there will also be larger lectures where a specialist, they can relate the specialist knowledge that they have and address some of the themes and issues and skills that they need to do. So it's a very diverse learning
Mm.
experience, I think, that our students have in our faculties. We do not usually have the sort of massive 250, 300 students lectures, and that's that. We do pride ourselves of having smaller groups of seminar size.
Excellent. Antonio, I suppose it depends on how much output comes from the student, I suppose, doesn't it? You'd want them to get involved and ask questions and perhaps be, very forward thinking when it comes to it, rather than maybe taking a back seat and just taking the learning and going away with it.
Absolutely, Gareth. Absolutely, and that is, in a sense, is the difference, the beautiful difference between undergraduate and postgraduate studies. In a sense, what can I say? At an undergraduate level, students are used to kind of a repeat knowledge, regurgitate knowledge. At the postgraduate level, they learn how to produce knowledge, to start to produce an output that is properly original, which I also do at undergraduate, but at MA level, that is really the rule of the game. And as Jakob say, also in SHS, we have there might be core courses where you have lectures which are always interactive, but with a slightly bigger number of students. But then you always have the seminar room where there is group work and individual work in kind of really small numbers, 10, 15, where there is really this attention to the individual needs, potentials, and kind of inclinations to really make this environment as dynamic and creative as it can be. I love teaching, and teaching seminars is one of the great joys of being an academic, because you really learn from your students and you kind of teach them, obviously, but it's a really two-way street.
I'm so pleased you said that, Antonio, because we've hosted many webinars and spoken to many academics over the last 5 or 6 years. But one of the biggest takeaways from me is the most successful and the most popular programs and courses and universities seem to be those that engage the most and actually allow their academics to learn from the student as much as the student learning from the academic. Ultimately, Jacob, you guys are doing this job because it's something that you're passionate about and you want to share that passion with that, said student and the knowledge and experience that you've got. How important is it at this stage, say they're looking at September, that they choose the right program and the right course for their career moving forward? Because this is a critical stage for many students, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, it is really important, I think. And when I talk to students who come for my advice about choosing MAs, because our students from undergraduate level, they are so inspired by what they have learned. They can see their skills and they want to specialize even further. They maybe have an idea about uh, a work, a career they want to pursue, and they are trying to find the particular MA that will give them the extra edge, that will prepare them better to enter into a particular career. And what I tell them is you really have to choose with your heart, first of all. I mean, the students who come out this generation and the next, they will not, like my generation, have one shot at a career. Is going to be a very dynamic market. They're going to be in work for much longer time. Uh, you can study an MA, you can continue to specialize, you can continue to re-educate yourself. And that's why I think it's a wonderful time to be able to choose your MA studies because you can really go with what inspires you, what you really want to think and learn more about. What kind of person do you want to be in the next step in your career? So it's really important that students think really hard about it. Careers is an important consideration. What kind of skills do you need for the life that you imagine for yourself? But I also think it's the curiosity that drives you. What are you curious about?
Mm.
What are you really passionate about? What kind of change do you want to make to the world? And I think between our faculties, if you are inclined to the social historical sciences, to arts and humanities, I think we have the program for you. Wherever your curiosity, wherever your heart is, whatever contribution you think you could be making to the world, I think we have the right pathway.
Excellent. Antonio, if I could come to you, just to kind of finish up on really, you will see many applications and you'll see many students provide their personal statements and applications and why they think they should be, thought of for a degree, a master's degree at UCL. What would you say is important when you're reading through these applications is the biggest factor? Are you looking for the experience? Are you looking for the education ultimately? Or is it the passion that you kind of have mentioned over the last 30, 40 minutes that is the most important?
Ah, what a question. It's a brilliant one. I hope I have a brilliant answer. I don't know. It's a little bit of both, and it's very much what Jakob, I think, just said. My advice would be tell us about you, about what drives you, about what passion you have. In a sense, and please don't take me too literally, we are not really interested in what you already know, because if you knew everything, you wouldn't need us to teach you. We really are interested in what you want to know, in what drives you. In if it's a career, as Jakob says, we will have the MA for you. If it is an interim step because you don't know what you want to do, we also have the right MA for you. If you want to specialize, we have a specialized degree. If you want to be broader, we have the broader degree. But the thing is, we are interested in you as individuals. And so the more you tell us about you from an intellectual, from a curiosity, from a passion, from these points of view, the more you will allow us to make an informed choice and say, we are the right institution for you. Because the point is, we want to have students who make the right choice in coming to us. We just don't want students for the sake of it. And so in a sense, we will always be careful in choosing and being, to the best of our knowledge, to the best of our understanding, to make sure that the degree that you are choosing, that you're applying for, is the right for you, is the right degree for you. You are the center of our interests.
Excellent. And Jacob, do you just want to elaborate further on that just before I invite the admissions guys on quickly?
Yeah, no, I can't really add anything to that. And Antonio's a brilliant description of what we're looking for in students. Of course, we want the students to have the right skills, and that's easy to find out. And I think a good way of thinking about when you're sitting down to write your motivation for studying with us is to think, what would an AI program not be able to write about me, right?
Yeah.
That's a good place to start because we do not want to have this sort of mechanized exploration of what you have done and how it matches various criteria. We really want to have students that we can see will have that potential to make good use of everything that we have just been talking about today, which is really about creating the leaders, the scholars, the workers who wants to contribute to making better societies, better communities, a better life for everybody in the future. And you can't do that only through technology. We want to learn about who you are.
I agree. Antonio, Jacob, thank you for your time. Really appreciate you taking time out of your day to deliver this webinar, and I'm sure the students have thoroughly enjoyed that. Sam, if I can invite you on at this point, just from an admissions point of view, if you could just share with me the intake dates for the next kind of structured lessons and education. Is it September? And what students can do to find out more about accommodation and scholarships, please?
Yeah, sure. So for those looking to start in September 2026, which is our next big intake, the application deadlines do vary by course. For the majority people needing a visa to study in the UK, they'll be around the end of June. For those who don't need a visa or in the UK already, it can be into late August. So that's the deadlines. And then in terms of more information, the QR code on the screen, the top one, will take you through to a bit more about the courses. And then once you're on the UCL site, if you just pop a search for accommodation, what was the other thing you said? Scholarships and finance.
Scholarships and
Yeah,
funding,
you
yeah.
should be able to find it all through the study pages as well, once you're on the UCL website.
Great stuff. And there's many students that have asked. I think one student in particular has been quite honest about it and said, look, we want to have a conversation with the guys on the panel today, with other members of staff and the admissions team. Is that possible? And how would they go about it?
Yeah, so each of our departments will have contact details available. So once you find a course that particularly interests you, I know someone's been asking about PhD study, who I think
Yeah,
Lee's provided a contact for already. But if you're looking at a particular course, the bottom of each of those pages, our prospectus pages, there's a contact details for the department, and they'll get back to you as soon as possible.
excellent stuff, Sam. Thank you. Jacob, Antonio, Sam, and Lee in the background, thank you for your help. Really appreciate that. It's been a great session. If anyone has any questions at all, see the QR codes on the screen. Please scan that. Please communicate. Communication is key. If you're not sure on anything, all the team here are here to help you. And if you have any questions that you don't want UCL knowing, or if you've got a personal question around generic postgrad info, webinars at postgradsolutions.com is the best place to email. But for now, thank you very much to the three on the screen, one in the background. Take care. Thank you. Bye bye.